What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about Norway's gun laws. Because here in the United States, owning a gun is not considered to be a big deal. It's actually very common and very easy. And like many Americans, I didn't realize how unusual that was for a very, very long time. But apparently, it's not so easy to own a gun in many other countries around the world. So today, I want to learn about what gun ownership is like in Norway and how it compares to here in the United States. So let's take a look at this, starting with the history of guns in Norway. Okay, 1961. Norway's foundational gun laws were built on the principle that firearm ownership is a privilege granted by the state for specific documented utility, not a fundamental human right. Wow. I mean, that's obviously very different from the United States point of view, but that's not to say, like, that I don't understand. Like, I think this is perfectly reasonable, to be honest, that for one thing, owning a gun is a huge responsibility. And not just anybody should be allowed to do it. And frankly, here in the United States, I have thought that it's too easy to get a gun. You should have to prove that you're competent. You should have to prove that you understand how to use it, that you deserve the responsibility. And yeah, so I think as far as most Americans, I kind of lie somewhere in the middle. Like, I do appreciate that, like, normal American citizens have access to guns for a variety of reasons. Usually, a big reason is like just personal protection. Like in America, you can just have a gun basically because you just want it to defend yourself. Like, and you don't even have to give a reason. Is the truth. But here it says in Norway, you have to have like a documented utility, like a reason, and it's not just a right. That's another huge difference I'm noticing. Here in the US, it's literally like in our constitution, like it is a right to own and bear arms, guns. Um, and we're taught that from a very young age in America, but I think it's taken me a long time to think about it and live my life a bit and realize that the way we do it, like it has some benefits, but it also has a lot of drawbacks. And there's probably a better way to do it. I think that's why I'm interested in looking at Norway about this. So it says the Weapons Act of 2021 brought laws into the 21st century. Norway has gun laws from 2021, like 5 years ago. You guys did this modernization thing. That's pretty recent. Introducing digital registration systems and stricter controls over high capacity semi automatic weapons. That's another very confusing thing here in the United States. As far as what guns you can buy, whether you can carry them, whether you can conceal them, whether you can have it in your car or at your house, or it all depends on what state you live in. The laws change. As far as registration and control and documenting, basically, you can go into a gun store in the United States, and in many states, you can buy a gun that same day, very quickly, very easily, and drive home. Like, and have access to a huge variety of guns. It's that quick and that simple. There's no like big exam or test or safety thing, or not necessarily always like a very big background check either. It's pretty. I think that's the part that kind of irks me the most, even as an American. Like I've grown up like knowing that most people have guns, and there's a whole other part of this. Like, isn't that? I feel like people think, oh, isn't that scary? But believe me, if you grow up in the United States, you stop thinking about guns. Like, it kind of depends on where you live, but if you just live in sort of a normal, like, town or city in the United States, like there's thousands of little towns and cities in the U.S. and for the most part, like if you live in a normal kind of place, there's not like people getting shot on the streets, and we do have that sometimes, but I guess I've been kind of lucky where in my life I've never seen anybody pull out a gun, let alone shoot a gun at another person ever. I've never felt in danger. Um, but obviously, the United States statistically has a lot of gun violence and gun crime, and this is making me really think a lot about the United States already and how we do things. So I think it's good to look at stuff like this. The Weapon Act of 2021, Volpenloven. The updated 2021 Act centralized authority under the Norwegian police. So, the authority to get a gun in Norway, you have to go through the police? It emphasizes vandal, or good conduct, as a perpetual requirement for all license holders. A perpetual requirement. So, they actually look at your behavior, like ongoing, to see if you should have a gun. See, that's something we don't have that I really like that. It says mandatory background checks for all transfers. See that now you in lots of states you can gift your gun to your family member, and you don't have to document it. You don't have to do anything. This already makes me think that we don't take this serious enough. Explicit bans on weapons with military-like features. Depends on what state you're in here. Standardized licensing for hunting and sport. Yeah, you don't usually really need a gun license, but that should be a thing. Like, I I don't want to get rid of all guns in the United States. That really freaks out a lot of Americans. But I definitely want there to be like exams, knowledge tests. Make sure you understand all the safety and the requirements, and you should have to prove that you deserve the responsibility of owning a gun. I absolutely agree with that. So I actually like a lot of what I'm seeing so far. It's not like guns are banned in Norway. There's just a lot more scrutiny. The path to legal ownership. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Documentation of need. Oh, applicants must prove a specific behav, a need. You have to prove that you need the gun. Self defense is strictly rejected as a valid reason. Whoa! That is a huge difference. Wow. Why is self defense rejected as a reason? Does that just make it too easy for everybody to get a gun? Because everybody can claim they want it for self defense, but then everybody has guns. But that is the system that we have in America. Like you just kind of assume everybody owns a gun, so you need to own a gun. Now, there's a lot of Americans who are hesitant to own guns and don't want to own guns, but I know a large portion of our population does, and yeah, I've thought before, like, people are probably less likely to like break into your home and try to burglarize your house or hurt you in America. Because if you break into somebody's house in the United States, there's a very good chance that they are armed with a gun. So I've wondered if that is like a deterrent, or if that, I don't know if that's a good enough reason though. But anyway, self-defense is the number one reason why Americans own guns. In Norway, that's not even accepted as a reason. That's fascinating to me. And now I know Norway is a much safer place. You guys have much less crime. But maybe that's because of your gun laws. It's hard to say what follows what. Permission is primarily granted for hunting or sport shooting. Really? I didn't know hunting was popular in Norway. So most people in Norway own guns for hunting and sport shooting. In America, it's mostly about self-defense and hunting too. 18, okay, Norway, age 18 for long guns, 21 for handguns. Oh, there's a difference. Oh. I think in most states you have to be 18 to get any gun. In America. In Norway, you have to be older for handguns. I guess those are, you can conceal them. There's more responsibility. Police approval. Local police must verify criminal and mental health records. Yes. Yes. I like that. I'm still like wondering about the self-defense, how that's not an acceptable reason to own a gun. I don't know what to think about that, but because that really goes against what most Americans think. I don't know. I'd have to see the statistics on that. Anyway, but most of this stuff I actually really like. Like the police have to look at your criminal record, your mental health records. Absolutely. Absolutely, that makes sense. Competency. You must complete a recognized training course and exam. This is fantastic. I love this. I love Norway for this. I wish we did this. I love these two things. Police approval, and you have to complete training and exams. Absolutely. To own a gun? Yeah. Yeah, I've always thought that's like my biggest gripe with guns in the United States. It's not even like because they're dangerous. It's just they're so easy for anyone to get. Like in America, you need to pass a test to drive a car, but not for a gun. It's kind of crazy when you think it's just that you're taught that this is normal in America. So a lot of Americans don't even really think about this, but valid grounds for possession. Hunting. Okay, ownership tied to the National Hunter Registry requires annual shooting proficiency tests. Even your hunting requires proficiency tests. Wow. Sport shooting tied to club membership. Oh, you have to be part of a club. Requires 6 months of active participation before a handgun license. So you have to prove that you're hunting, and then you have to take tests or prove your competency. Sport shooting, and you have to be a member of a club. And the other reason in Norway is for collections. For historical purposes, the weapons must be kept deactivated or in secure bunkers. Oh, if you could just collect guns. So these are the only valid reasons for owning a gun in Norway. Self-defense is not there. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that because most Americans own guns for protection. And so that applies to everybody. And you don't have to prove that or anything. I didn't know that there was other countries like Norway that didn't even allow that as a reason. The hunting tradition. Norway maintains a profound cultural connection to the outdoors, with approximately 500,000 registered hunters in a population of 5.5 million. Hunting is a cornerstone of Norway's national identity. I didn't know that. Norway is that big into hunting? I didn't know you guys were all hunting. Huh, that's cool. Hunting is very popular in America, but w- wait a minute. Like 1 out of 10 people in Norway own a gun but it's for hunting. A lot of people in Norway have guns for hunting then. And yet you guys still have low crime. So it's not like guns are unheard of in Norway. Maybe you guys are just more responsible with it. I think you definitely are. The Jägarproven, Hunter's Exam, is a mandatory 30-hour curriculum. Americans would never. I don't know all the hunting laws in the US. I don't know all the hunting laws. You can only hunt in certain spaces and certain times of year, but there's no way Americans are doing a 30-hour school. No way. Ensuring hunters understand wildlife management, ethics, safety. This should be a requirement. This makes so much sense. You should have to take a course. I like that a lot. Limitations and enforcement. Strict zero tolerance policies. Norwegian law does not recognize personal protection as a valid basis for gun permit. Wow. Weapons are viewed as tools for a utility or sport, not protection against other citizens. I mean, Americans, I guess, would argue because there are times when having a gun has saved people's life. But obviously, it creates an environment where a lot of people have guns and they don't use it for personal protection, they use it for crime or something. Storage. All firearms must be kept in an FG approved safe. Police have the right to inspect with 48-hour notice. Whoa. Yeah, you guys are way more strict. You in America, you don't in a lot of states you do not have to keep your gun locked up. You don't have to keep it in a safe. You can keep it under your pillow if you want. Wow. You guys treat gun ownership much more seriously, and I like it. I like most of this. Domestic safety indicators. Guns per 100 people, 28. This is in Norway. In Norway, 28 guns per 100 people. So you guys have a lot of gun ownership in Norway. It's not like you don't have guns, but your homicides are almost nothing. High ownership in Norway does not correlate with high crime due to a culture of responsibility and rigorous vetting. Wow. So you can have guns without the crime. That's mind blowing because that just further shows how here in the US we're doing something wrong. For sure. Norway is proving it. Oh my God. Classes of regulated arms in Norway. Handguns. Sports only. Owners must remain active in clubs to maintain the license. Hunting, long guns, rifles, shotguns used for harvest, subject to magazine limits. Secure storage, mandatory safes, ammunition must be stored separately or in a locked compartment. You guys, I like the storage. I like the how serious you take this. You have to store it a certain way. I love how it sounds like in Norway you have to recertify. Like you have to every year or something. What? You have to take an exam or prove your competency or be part of the club or in America you just buy the gun and no one ever talks to you about it again. You can buy a gun when you're 18 and own it. You can be a 93-year-old with a gun who doesn't even remember how to shoot it. It doesn't matter. Nobody's keeping track of this, which is concerning now that I'm seeing Norway's system. Administrative requirements. Requirement in Norway. Okay, so for hunting, sports, the 3 reasons for owning a gun in Norway: hunting, sports, and collecting. You need a police interview for a hunting and sporting. And a collector, you need an extensive interview. Training. If you want a gun for hunting, you have to take the 30-hour course. If you want a gun for sports, it's 6 months in a club. If you want a gun for a collector, you have to prove that you are a legitimate collector. You need a safe no matter what, and ownership review. So there's ownership reviews for whenever you own a gun in Norway. There's like ongoing reviews to make sure that you're competent or following the rules. That makes so much sense. Like we don't have any of this. We don't, we don't, we don't even think about any of this. That actually scares me. No wonder, no wonder the gun crime is so bad in the US. We're not doing any of this. Comparative analysis, Norway versus the USA. Per 100 people, you would find 28.8 guns in Norway and 120 guns in America. So there are as many guns as people in America, whereas in Norway, it's like 25% of the population. Population that owns guns in Norway, 10 to 15% own guns. That's higher than I thought. I didn't know that many Norwegians owned guns. That's like 1 out of 10 or more. I didn't know it was that much. In the US, 30 to 40%, almost half of people own guns. That sounds about right to me. Gun homicides. Look at the difference here. In Norway, 0.07 deaths per 100,000. In America, it's 6. That means we have like, it's hard to even calculate. Wait a minute. How much more gun death do we have? That'd be 6.3 divided by 0.07. 90 times more gun homicides in America. 90 times more murder. Jeez. The philosophy in Norway is privilege is based on your need. In the US, it's a constitutional right. Everybody has the right to a gun. And that in America, you're made to believe that that feels very empowering. I don't know. This is definitely making me think. Training in Norway, 30 plus hours. In the US, usually none, which is insane. Are we just lazy? Are we just dumb? Storage. Mandatory in Norway, not standard in the US. Any kind of special storage. Oh my God, this comparison really... Oh my God. This whole thing has been crazy. Oh my God. Okay, I think in the US, like we don't have to get rid of guns. Like we can have guns and do such a better job at the system of gun ownership here. And Norway has laid out a great template for how to do. Why don't we just copy Norway? Why are we not doing any of this? It doesn't even like we could even keep that we can buy guns for self-defense. We could even keep that. Why not implement like the testing, the certification, the background checks, the ongoing, making sure that people deserve in an ongoing manner to own the gun, checking in every year. Why don't we do that? Like, just because we have very open gun ownership laws doesn't mean we have to be stupid about it. But this makes me feel like we are. Or maybe Norway is just smart. I don't know. Probably both. Oh my God, this is crazy. This was eye-opening. I'm actually very glad I took a look at this. I learned a lot. Anyway, okay. If you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts. Especially if you're Norwegian and you understand the gun ownership and all this stuff or have any thoughts about this. That'd be cool to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and Norwegian things that I've never learned about or seen, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.